Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Today we have a awesome guest. His name is Chris Patrick. We just go into comparing notes right out of the gate, different stuff. We talk about mindset, his book, and honestly, I'm reading it. I'm recording and editing this on the 21st of November. Should be around the 6th of December, I believe. So I'm going to have that book finished and everything. 100% worth a purchase. The dude's just awesome. His just a heads up, his computer randomly just shuts down on him like 8 minutes into this. You'll just hear me squawking about potentially getting ads and blah blah blah. And other than that, have an awesome show. Tell me what you think about this. Hit me up on Twitter or Instagram, Josh Bolton Show. If you feel so inclined, email me, joshboltonshow@gmail.com. I do have a tab on my website if you want to contact me too and correct me. I have it all set up for my email, so I'm pretty much, you message me, I'm seeing it. Unless I'm asleep. Obviously, then I'll get to you later, okay? But I will get to you. All right, let's do this.
It myself.
That's awesome.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I was looking at your website and your story, man. That's a pretty inspiring story you've got there. It's really cool.
Thank you.
Coming back from the big pharma drug rabbit hole there.
Yeah.
And it's been almost 4 years now. So congratulations to you on that. That's really cool. And congratulations on the success of your podcast. I see you got like 140, 150 episodes now. That's awesome.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you. It's just one of those for the big pharma thing. I always knew something was wrong, and then it was just one of those. I had a weird event where I was just in Idaho for like a month and a half. I ran out of the pills and stuff. I was like, wait, I'm not seeing like Satan over there playing with whatever, and I'm like, maybe the drugs are fucking with me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's just kind of what started it. And then while I was up there, it was kind of like the pivot point too. It's like, even though I'm introverted, I like talking to people, might as well, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure you have your own thoughts. The fact that you even called it big pharma leads me to believe that you have your own thoughts about, how they wrap people around their fingers and, this whole Western medicine thing, as it's called.
Yeah.
To me, it's nothing more than a giant money game. There's pills for
everything now.
Everything. It's crazy.
And some of them I tell people, I'm like, because they're like, oh, you got off meds, so then anyone can. I'm like, no, there are some people who are genuinely broken who do need those pills.
Right.
I'm like, but that's like the few and far between. You don't just randomly give an 8-year-old Ritalin and expect him to be fine.
Right.
And they're like, what's Ritalin? I'm like, it's legal speed, essentially. Well, legal meth.
Right.
And they're like, wait, what? I'm like, that's what they do. They just like, oh, you have attention problems? Here's some meth. Next.
Yeah, and it's almost like, the doctors are getting some sort of kickback for prescribing things. I mean, we have to know that. So they're really just, licensed, authorized drug dealers. Really, they're just
pretty much.
If they get money by saying yes, you need this drug, then why wouldn't you say that? They're just going to keep doing that over and over.
Well, another one I've heard, an actual doctor told me this. That's why he never took outside money, because he's like, you could go through school and you have all this debt, and he's like, whatever company will come in and buy your debt and say, whenever possible, you always push our drug, and you never owe us this dime.
Mm-hmm.
And he told me that. I'm like, so that would explain why like everyone and their mother's like ibuprofen, metformin, even if you don't need it. He's like, yeah, because those companies bought their debt, so they have to somehow pay them back.
Yeah. It's like being sponsored. It's like if you were like a professional BMX rider, you're going to be sponsored by Haro bikes and Bell helmets and whatever kind of gloves. These doctors are just sponsored by all these different pharmaceutical companies, really.
Pretty much. And that's where like the one doctor, he actually went to a family church. And after I asked him, like, well, how did you do it? He's like, dude, I barely pulled it off. He's like, back in the 80s, I owed 500,000. So like nowadays it'd be $800,000 for a doctor's degree for what I did. I'm like, so you never pay it off, essentially. He's like, pretty much. But if you take that money, you just have to keep pushing those pills.
So that's an actual story that you heard, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all. Well, good for you for getting off that shit. And yeah, I know it probably wasn't easy, but congratulations to you for, for doing that.
It was like almost 15-ish. Yeah, like 15-ish years. No, might be more. It was like around 8. They started it, like the Ritalin and all that. I was like 26 when I got off it. So
Wow.
it's all 18 years at least that I can visually think of right now.
Yeah. Wow. And those are, years of your life where you're very impressionable, and you're going to start seeing things through that lens, so that blurry lens of medication. So
Oh yeah,
I'm sure your eyes have been opened a lot since then.
Oh, a lot. So tell me a little more about yourself, kind of thing.
Yeah, so I'm a real estate consultant here in Las Vegas. We run a successful real estate team. My wife and I do. Been doing that since 2013.
Oh, wow.
And,
okay.
Yeah, last year I started writing this book, Disasters to Dreams, and it had been kind of in the works for in my head for probably about 2 or 3 years. My wife and I kind of talked after attending a Mike Dooley event about some of the wild shit that's happened to me. And speaking of this, Josh, I heard you throw an expletive out, so this is kind of how I talk. And if you want me to clean it up, I certainly can, but I do.
I don't give a shit, man. Go for it.
Okay, cool. I mean, I don't overuse it. It has to be used in moderation to have a good effect, but
right.
Yeah. So I wanted to write this book because I've had a lot of awful shit happen to me, and I've been able to rebound from those things and kind of look back at some of the setbacks and failures and mistakes and disasters, if you will, and see them for what they really were, and that's, the building blocks for success. There's a lot to be learned from every bad thing that's ever happened to you.
Oh, 100%.
And so, and not only that, we can get more into those type of things, but that was kind of the whole thought process is, what, I should write a book about this because I really think I can help people with my story. So that's what I've done. And it launched about almost about a month ago now.
Wow.
Pretty exciting.
So what was it, about 2 years of writing?
It was about 1 year of writing, which even that was, I'd never written a book before, so I had no idea, how long these things take or how much work is involved. Man, there's so much work involved.
Oh yeah.
So much. You think you got these ideas and you're like, yeah, it'll be a cool book. Okay, start putting it to paper and see how
well that we're actually translating.
Yeah. So it's been a process. I learned a ton. I learned a lot about myself, other people, the way people think, and a lot about the book writing process too. So it's been a cool journey.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm in the endeavors of trying to make my own. And it's one of those, I called up an editor just like, hey, what's a quote? And so we just chatted for like 30 minutes. And she's like, yeah, you might want to buy this specific book to explain how books are written. I'm like, she's like, or it's going to cost you a fortune for me to fix everything.
Oh, is that right?
And I was like, okay, I'll go buy the book.
Oh, so you had some stuff written out already, like an outline or something?
Yeah.
Or
it was just, I told her, like, it's super rough. Like, this is just me spitballing and just putting ideas on the thing. And she read it and she's like, yeah, you didn't follow anything of the story arc system. I'm like, oops.
Yeah. And you know what? And I have learned through experience too, that sometimes it's better to reach out to somebody who knows more than you do about anything.
Oh yeah.
And not just have them do it, but, act as a coach or a guide for you. Right. Because I would say you can get good at golf by going out and hacking up the course for 20 years on your own, or you can hire the course pro and he'll teach you a lot of shit in just a few months. So,
oh yeah. I think I'm on like take 50 now. So everyone, YouTube is giving me trouble with Zoom. Any advice on that? Oh, sorry, this is like the middle break. I'm just trying to fill in like 2.5 minutes. Um, yeah, YouTube's just giving me grief. I don't know why. And my advertisers and sponsorships who made it this far into the show, I have a special mission for you all. If you want to sponsor or advertise on the Josh Bolton Show, awesome. I have a special for you all. So get your checkbooks and emails ready. If you contact me within December of 2021 by New Year's Eve, you get your email and everything. I'm looking to lock in at a lifetime rate. Even if my prices go up for everyone else, you will be set in stone for that rate. If this sounds a deal for you, hit me up at joshboltonshow@gmail.com. Website is joshboltonshow.com. There's actually a contact me and a tab for ads. Speaking to everyone else now, if you just want general inquiries, contact me just to say hi. Instagram, Twitter works for that. But in general, you want to correct me about something, contact me through the website. Small price is your email. Other than that, I am running a second contest, actually. So if you want a sticker, just tweet me a photo of your favorite show and just tag me in Twitter or Instagram. But also tweet or Instagram me a photo of your review, and I will send you a shirt. And if you did both contests, you get a shirt and a sticker. So congratulations, you're both winners. So other than that, I think it's time to get back to the show. There
Dude,
he is.
What happened?
You were like mid-conversation and you're laughing and just went, whoop, gone.
Yeah, that's what happened to me too. It just froze up, and I was like, "Josh, where'd you go? Where'd you go?" And then this has never happened to my. This is an iMac. It's like 2 years old. It's like the biggest, coolest iMac you can get. It just shows the Apple sign. It's like, we shut down because there was a problem. Like, a problem with what?
With what, man?
I have no idea.
I never have trouble with Zoom. This is like my first in a long time, actually.
No, it wasn't a Zoom thing. It was my computer. Like, the whole iMac just shut down.
So weird.
I'm glad I was able to hop back on them.
Right?
I lost my train of thought, but
well, it was entertaining.
yeah, the frozen image of myself was laughing, so it must have been something funny.
It was. You were leaning back and laughing, and it was just like one of those. I'm like, okay, I didn't hear the end of the joke, but it must be good.
It must have been a good one. All right. So where are you at, man?
Los Angeles, California area.
Oh, okay. Not too far away. I'm in Las Vegas.
Yeah. So let's say quick. If I'm going too fast, quick 8-hour drive or 12-ish.
Oh, you can make it in like 5, I think. Maybe. Oh, maybe that's San
Diego. They have
a
lot of unmanned aircraft taking speed limits now, so you want to be at least a little bit under.
Oh, is that what they do now? They have drones checking for speed out there. Oh man, that's like the best place to speed is that Highway 15 between California and Vegas. There's no one out there. It's all desert. Especially
if you're going at like 3 a.m, like no one's there.
Yeah, absolutely. You ever make it out to Vegas?
A few times, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, if I'm going fast, I know I can make it in 8. If I'm going really fast and just redlining the whole way, 5, easy.
There you go. Cool, man. So yeah, I'm super thrilled to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to come on your show, and looking forward to it.
It's awesome. So we already got the background. I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing. So why don't we just jump into your story and all that?
Yeah. So like I was saying, I'm a real estate consultant here in Vegas, and my wife and I run a pretty successful team, and we've been real fortunate and blessed to be in the position that we're in. It's been a long journey to get here, but
I'll say, especially with 2020 and 2021 prices, you've probably been bumping like crazy, huh?
Man, that was the craziest thing I've ever seen. When the whole pandemic started, everybody's thinking, oh, everything's going to tank here. Everybody, the bottom's going to drop out. And just the opposite happened with the real estate market. Prices started going up like crazy. And right now we're at the height of, home values across the country. I know
like
we are in
historically in
Vegas.
general, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I know
Absolutely.
I know California we run in general very high, but even for us, it's like a trailer park, like little modular homes going for like 200K, and it's only 100, like 50K to buy the thing. So it's like everything's gone up.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. It's been pretty wild. So when people ask you, this is one of the few times in history when it's actually a good time to be a buyer and a seller,
Mm-hmm.
because interest rates are very low, so it's a good time to be a buyer, and prices are real high, so it's a good time to be a seller too. But yeah, we've just been real fortunate, to have achieved the level that we've achieved, and it's been pretty cool. We actually adopted a baby daughter last year
Congrats.
as well, so thank you very much. Her first birthday is coming up next month. I can hardly believe where the time went,
Right? It
but
just keeps going. It's faster and faster.
man, it really is. But you know what, Josh, it's really this is my first child. I'm 52, so maybe a little bit older than most people when they have a kid. But it is such a cool thing to watch a little baby learn all the things that they learn. Right? We take these things for granted, but just crawling and walking and saying words and grabbing things. It's fascinating. It's really fascinating. And the love you feel is something that yeah, you're sure you love your parents and you love your friends and your family and stuff like that, but you never experience that kind of love like you do for a child. It's pretty cool.
It is. Yeah,
Hmm.
I've not experienced it before, but I've been told by multiple people it's the almost the ultimate kind of love.
Yeah, it is like you throw yourself in front of a semi for them kind of a love, you
Right.
know? Yeah. It's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. So yeah, like I was saying, I decided to write a book last year, and just came out October 21st. So it's fresh on the shelves right now, and it's been a long journey to get to this point, but I'm really proud of it. I think it turned out really great, and I think it's going to be able to help a lot of people.
Wonderful. Then can you give us the premise of what your the premise, but also some of like the nuts and bolts of how your book is?
Yeah, so I call it an uncensored, tough love self-improvement guide.
Okay.
Built specifically to help people reframe their past failures, their past mistakes, and their screw ups, and see them for what they really are, and that's the building blocks towards success. I have found throughout my life experience and from speaking with a lot of other people that most people are standing in their own way when it comes to achieving the success that they want in life.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of that is based around, you know, the way they think, the way their beliefs are, and therefore, the actions that they take. So I believe this book will help them, kind of smash through those self-imposed roadblocks and really start living the type of life that they want to live.
Oh, 100%. That's the biggest one I've learned just talking to the like 150 different people is I've rephrased it to a more brutal way of saying it, but essentially we are in our own self-imposed prison. We are the prisoner and the warden. The door's open, we can leave. We know how to leave. Do we want to though?
Right, right. Yeah, there's a line from I'm a big punk rock fan, and there's a line from a NoFX song that says, "The sad truth is, you'd rather follow the school into the net because swimming alone at sea is not the type of freedom that you actually want."
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Pretty much the same thing. It's I'm gonna say that's more artistic and beautiful. Mine's more like you're being an idiot, just leave.
Right, you're being an idiot. Well, you know what? I've developed this theory recently that why this happens to people, and I believe it's a product of society, actually.
Okay.
And to me, it starts with this, and that is pretending that life is supposed to be perfect. Right? You're supposed to be
That's the
beautiful.
biggest lie.
Yeah, it's the biggest crock of shit. And we're told that life is supposed to be perfect with all of this, this targeted marketing and advertisements and celebrity endorsements. And, if you drive this kind of car, you're going to be cool and be able to pick up chicks. And if you drink this kind of beer, you're going to be a real man. And, this, that, and the other thing. So it makes you believe that since you don't have those things, then you're not the optimal human being yet. And so there's something that you're lacking because you don't have all these things. And then it's perpetuated by the shit on social media, because nobody posts their failures on Instagram. They only post the highlight reels of their lives. And so it looks like everybody's living this perfect life where nothing bad ever happens. And then you compare your mundane life to the highlight reel of theirs. And so you feel pretty shitty about yourself, which makes you then internalize these thoughts like, I'm not perfect. I should be perfect. I'm not good enough. I wish I was more. I don't have the things that I want to have. And so then you're carrying those beliefs around with you. And you're not only attracting more of the same energy to you, that you don't have those things, you're not perfect, but you also tend to see those things that you believe to be true, right? They're more noticeable to you in the real world. Like if you ever thought about buying a new car or bought a new car, then all of a sudden you notice that same car all over the place, right? So if you think you're not good enough, you're going to find reasons throughout the day why you're not good enough, which then reinforces that theory in your head, and it's like a vicious circle over and over again. So that's my little theory on why that seems to be primarily why people get stuck in their own way.
What I also think it is the societal structure. The root of it, I believe, is from schools, because they essentially teach us to be good workers but not good thinkers. And then if we were good thinkers, we realize, oh wait, you don't have to keep buying the newest iPhone or the newest Gucci, because it's like I could have put that $1,000 to work in the financial markets or invest in whatever. It's just, I think it's just it's one of those, whether it was intentionally architected or not, it just ended that way. It kind of designs to make that 80% forever in the rat race, because they'll never feel they're enough.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Josh. And to that point, it very well may have been by design that it's that way, right? Mm-hmm. George Carlin, the famous comedian, he alludes to the point that they don't want critical thinkers.
No,
they don't want people that are going to, form a revolution because they're upset with the way things are. What they want is people that are going to go to work 9 to 5, make their money, and be consumers, right? And just barely have enough time to, think about the way things are. So it very well could be by design, and a lot of it comes down to, it's the corporations. They're making all this money, and of course, if you're a big corporation, you want most people to just keep buying your products and this, that, and the other thing. But another part of this, well, when we're children, we don't come with any, preconceived notions about anything, right?
No, everything's pure. There's no, we're like the essence of bias free.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I've learned this even more watching my almost 1-year-old daughter grow up, that they really don't come with any pre-programming except the essentials, which is to eat, sleep, and shit, pretty much.
Yeah, but I mean, we all need to do that. So.
But outside of that, they don't know anything about like work or, what is money or what is time or this is a house. They know nothing. So everything, all the beliefs that we end up having as we grow up are formed through either experience or by what someone has told us. And usually that first person that tells us something is our parents, mm-hmm. right? So if they say, yep, this is the way the world works. Money's not easy to come by, and you got to work your ass off to get it. You got to go to school, you got to go to college, then you got to get a job, and you work 9 to 5. That's how the world works. So you go, oh, okay.
Okay, well, I don't know what that means, but can I get a brownie now?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, a lot of this shit is pre-programmed from our parents, and like you said, then at school, and then on the news, and it's just, it just keeps perpetuating over and over again. And it's hard to get out of that cycle, unless you are a critical thinker.
And what's funny is how you mentioned social media, that I was like, when the pandemic and the lockdowns first hit, I was on Instagram, Facebook all the time. And then this is also when I was starting to show. So one of them was like, just cut social media off. I'm like, but aren't I supposed to post on social media? And he's like, yeah, like once or twice. You just reinstall the apps, post, uninstall it. I'm like, and that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh, like literally, I have all this fear and anxiety for no reason, because the algorithms knows that's exactly what I want to know about.
Mm-hmm.
which then I was in a frenzy and I couldn't think straight. Now, like the guy said, I log in, I post a few things, and I immediately close the app and leave.
And you feel a lot better about
Oh
yourself,
my
right? Like,
gosh, I get
yeah.
so much more done.
Well, not only do you have more time, of course you have more time that you're not wasting there, but you probably actually feel lighter. You feel like less of a burden, less stressed, things like that. Would that be accurate? Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yep.
mean, we've been told, and we've heard, and I'm sure it's true that the social media giants can control what you see in your news feed and therefore control your emotions to a pretty large degree.
Oh, 100%. And they do it intentional. They know the psychological ticks that gets you. So they're like, oh, he's having a good day, so we're going to throw some bad news so he stays on and reads more bad news. And then now that I realize that, I'm like, I'm good. If it's important, someone will actually like tell me about it.
Right, right. I know. Yeah, well, their number one goal, I think, the social media channels, is to keep you occupied and entertained and engaged on their channel for as long as humanly possible. That is their bottom line goal. Right?
Well, that's so they can sell you ads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, it comes to money, right? It's usually you can, if they say in crime solving, follow the money. Well, if you follow the money in that one, you'll see what their intention is.
Oh, they're making billions a quarter, and they don't want that gravy chain to end anytime soon.
No, absolutely not. So yeah, getting the hell off of social media. I did this a long time ago. I just got off of it, and then like you said, I set up I actually have somebody that does it for me now. But
Perfect.
I send her the content. This is what I want to go out. You put it on this channel, and boom, it's done. I realize the importance of it from business perspective, but for an entertainment perspective, no, I got better things to do than that.
Right. Yeah. And like for me, another trick, what I do, how I can get in and out of Instagram, you can hide feeds without unsubscribing to the person. So what I do is just, even my own family, I just block everything. And it's great. I can log in and like, all I see is like a post I did a couple of weeks ago. I probably should actually post something now.
Oh, so you can set it so you only see your own stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was my loop. I was like, okay, I can't fully get rid of it. Like I can't hire someone out kind of thing. But I'm like, I could just make everyone go away.
Yeah. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Pretty much.
Nice.
So what were some of the events, like your failures that with hindsight now looking back, that they were a great learning lesson for you?
Yeah. And, kind of what we were alluding to before, there's some of these things are failures. Like what I would consider a failure is something that I did and I could have done better that resulted in something not turning out the way I wanted to. Like it was my fault and I had to take responsibility for it. Like that would be like a failure to me. There's other events in people's lives and in mine, of course, too, that you had nothing to do with, that were not your fault per se. They just kind of happened. But you still have to take a perspective on those events that's a positive spin also. And you have to dig through those things just as much as you have to dig through things that were actual failures. So a few things that happened to me, a lot of people probably have this similar story, it was a very a rough beginning, a rough childhood.
Okay.
My biological father was a drug addict and a religious fanatic, and he
Those
left us.
Totally go well together.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Drugs and religions. Yeah. Both at the addiction level together. Yeah. That's, it's a perfect storm. Yeah. So, it was rough there. And, he left us a couple of times when I was like 2 and then finally again at 3.5. I had a pretty major life-changing event happen to me when I was 12 years old. I was in middle school. I think it was seventh grade, and me and a few other boys were accused and arrested for a very serious sex crime that we did not commit. So, like I said, we got arrested, fingerprint booked, expelled from school. And this is before, the internet or anything, so everything is relayed word of mouth and the newspaper and things like that. So our names were in the paper, everything else. And then it later comes out that the girls were lying about it. None of this ever happened. They fully admitted everything. but
That's still
it
your name was ran through the mud.
was too much. It was too late, too soon, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The damage had been done, so to speak. So, I lost all of my friends, save one. I ended up quitting team sports, which I was very good at the time. That was my passion. I loved to play sports. And I kind of went down the punk rock path after that because, those are the other people that were kind of like the outsiders. They weren't part of the traditional, normal culture of high school and whatnot. So, and along with the punk rock and heavy metal crowd and all that, comes the partying and the drugs and the alcohol and stuff like that. So that changed my path. I was on a path to be, I wanted to be a professional baseball player.
You do have the frame for it. You would have been amazing.
I was really good too, Josh. And thank you, man. I was always like, I never missed an all-star game. I was always like the pitcher, always the cleanup hitter, like every time on every team. I was always like hitting giant home run. I mean, I don't know. Who knows? I wanted to play baseball, but
I would say what I've come to learn with life is, yes, you can always imagine, but if you actually pivoted, will you still be sitting here or will it be down a different path? And I'm like, nope, I accept my path for what it is. It's the reason why I'm here, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you ever see that movie, The Butterfly Effect, with Ashton Kutcher?
No, I've heard of that multiple times. I'll look it up.
You got to see it, man. It's really cool. It's like a psychological thriller, but it basically says that one seemingly insignificant event can change the course of all future events. Like even deciding to cross the street that one day and meet that one person could dramatically change the outcome of the rest of your life.
Or theirs too. You never know what you're doing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, had that not happened, would you and I be sitting here right now together? Probably not, but I accept this path, right? Not only can I not go back in time and change it, but, that shit made me stronger. Maybe I was very shy, I wasn't outgoing or decisive or, in any kind of a D personality that I am now back then. But that really made me strong and resilient and tough and able to say, you know what, I'm going to have to fix this situation myself. I got to clear my name. And so those are just a couple of things that have happened on the road. But there's been a lot of other ones too, which are in the book.
Oh, I bet. I'm going to say now I'm going to have to go get it just to read those.
I would hope so. Yeah. I'll even send you a copy.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say what's funny is as you're telling your story, it's very similar to mine. Had a few bad events happened in my life. One main one being the drugs, but I never got the false claim, at least like that. The only one I got was because my teeth were really haggled, like it looked like a beast in a movie kind of thing, and my body builds muscle and was growing in teeth so quick that the adults were under the kids' teeth and just like going like that. So they're like, "Oh, you're a monster. You're a beast. You're ugly. No one will ever love you because you're ugly."
Wow.
And I was like 11 or 12. Man, that like stuck to my core for the longest of time. I thoroughly believed I was a monster, a beast. No person would actually care about me. Now that like I'm off all that stuff, I'm like, oh wow, that was a really fucked up little moment those kids gave me.
Yeah. Were you able to dig through there and kind of see, okay, maybe why did that happen to me, or what did I get out of that? Did that change my view on anything? Did it make me a better person? Looking back, what did you get out of that?
It actually made me more of a caring and compassionate person. Probably at the time it was just instinctual for survival. If I make them laugh and happy, they can't make fun of me, kind of thing. But like now when I do things, like when I'm looking at it, like my coworkers, I help out. I'm not directly with them, but they'll ask me questions and they're all freaking out and screaming. I'm like, calm down, like this. And it's firm but fair advice. And they're like, wow, that's so nice. And like, you meant no malintent. I'm like, yeah, there's it's not efficient to be rude. You just keep getting in arguments. If I can give you straight advice without being like too blunt, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So,
that's great. Do you think you would have had that personality trait had you not gone through that time, when you were
oh,
11?
100%. If I didn't go through that, because I went through more like, I really got into like Slipknot. So I was listening to all that dark metal and stuff. And yeah, if I didn't really go through that dark crucible, I don't think I'd be where I am. I might honestly, I've told this to my instructor before. I do martial arts, and I told him because it was the same time when I got that statement, maybe 6 or 8 months later, is when I was introduced to him. And he told me later on, he's like, I just saw a rage in your eye that you just want to break things.
Uh,
I'm like, really? He's like, dude, your eyes tell you a lot about you. I'm like, oh, okay. But that's what I told him recently because I achieved my second degree in martial arts.
nice.
Thank you. It was 5 hours of pure insanity.
I'll bet.
Uh, but I told him, like, dude, if you didn't pick me up when you did, I'd probably be in juvie, strung out on drugs, randomly have bounced around the world for air quote opportunities to get scammed, kind of thing. I said, I'm like, honestly, if you didn't pick me up, I don't think I'd actually be alive at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, isn't it interesting when you're able to look back at things like that and say, okay, yeah, that sucked, but I had to go through that. And certainly it wasn't your fault that you had, the teeth, like you said, and, that you looked the way you did. Of course, that wasn't your fault.
Right.
And other kids teasing you, that wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve that or ask for that, but you went
Right.
through it. You went through a shitty, dark time, but you're able to look back on it now and say, okay, well, I went through this time for some reason. What could that reason be? And you've been able to identify what that reason is, which is fantastic. And I think what people will find is that they can look back on just about everything and at least find something in there that is worth saving and worth holding on to, and realizing that it did you some good at some other juncture in your life, right? And I think sometimes it's a change in your personality. Like, we both kind of had a similar change in our personalities because an event happened to us. Sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's just a straight up lesson, you grab a hot pot off the stove. The lesson is don't fucking grab a hot pot off the stove anymore. That's your lesson, right?
Or at least get a glove.
At least get a glove. That's in the simplest terms. But then other times there's no lesson, there's no change in personality, but let's say that you met somebody. Well, I like to give this example. Let's say that you met this girl or guy on a dating app and you really like each other and you've been talking for a few weeks and you finally decide it's time to meet in person. So you're really excited about this. You've been planning on it for a week, anticipating everything. You get all dressed up, drive down to the bar where you're supposed to meet her, and fuck, she doesn't show up. She stands you up. Like, this is not your fault.
I want to say, I hate that. I didn't understand it back then, what that meant.
Yeah. I mean, it's not your fault. You didn't make a mistake. There's no lesson to be learned here. I mean, what's the lesson? Don't go on dating apps. There's no change in your personality, but you end up hanging out at the bar, having a couple beers, and it turns out that the bartender and you really get along great, and you both have a great business idea, and you decide to become partners on a business startup, right? So it could be something like that too, right? Where it has nothing to do with the lesson. There's no change in personality. It wasn't a mistake. It's just because you went on that dating app and met that girl and decided to go to this bar, that's how you met this bartender, and that's how you're able to start this business. Shit like that happens all the time.
Oh, 100%. No, and that's actually funny. It wasn't that I got stood up. So I was on dating apps way before COVID. And it was one of those, it was a good looking chick and she was local. I was like, hey, local coffee shop, let's meet up there. It was like 5 days out, was pumped. And it's one of those, I'm sitting there and I mean, it was a bigger girl, but it was not like horrendous or anything. It was like a little thicker around like the hips and stuff. I'm like, okay. 600-pound beast just walks in sweats and strung out hair. And I'm sitting there going, wow, that is one massive dude. And then she turns and I'm like, wow, he's got some huge tits too. What does he keep? God. And then she's like, are you Josh? I'm like, oh shit.
Nope.
The best part And this is the soonest I've ever left a date. I usually try to stay an hour, even if I don't like the person, just to be fair. They did the trip. She scratches her vagina, sniffs it, flicks whatever that was off.
Shut your mouth. Are you serious?
Not kidding at all.
Oh my God.
Pit stains that could make a football player look clean.
Oh my goodness.
And then sits down. I said, hi. And I just sat there. I got my coffee and I'm drinking. And essentially, like, I know the coffee shop owner. I've known him for like 15 years. And after he's looking like,
no.
But essentially, I get up and I said, "Oh, the owner needs me to help him in the back. I'll just probably gonna head out afterwards. Like, good luck." And he's like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not judgmental, but damn, her pictures did not look like that."
Oh my God. So what, you just walked out the back door type of
Pretty
thing?
much.
Oh shit. Oh my God. So what was the lesson you learned there? Or was there
a thing called catfishing? Don't fall for it.
There is a thing called catfishing. Oh my God, that is a funny story. That is hilarious.
At the time, like, my heart was racing beyond belief. I'm like, what the did I just do?
Yeah. How do I get out of this? Somebody get me out of this. Fake a heart attack or something.
Something.
Have a real heart attack. I don't care. Just do something. Get me out of here.
Call the medics. I need out now.
Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
And that's where after that, like, I went on dates and it was good. And that's where the owner, one of them, crazy chick. And I should have noticed it right out of the gate because she admitted, like, I had childhood traumas. We all do. We all got like our bag of shit kind of thing. It's like, is your little thing more of a cocoon or like this, like a cone? And she would only recite things in verses of the Bible.
Oh boy.
Right?
This is the same girl?
No, different one completely.
Oh, okay.
And at the time I'm still young and dumb. I didn't learn from the other lady. So it was one of those, she comes over and kind of like forces herself on my hips, wraps around. She just finished explaining, by the way, she had a World War II bayonet in her truck.
Oh, man.
Just finished. She cuddles, like, gets so close and it's like, you want to go in the back of my car and cuddle and talk about death? And I just immediately stood up and said no and walked out. I'm like, cuddle and talk about death after you just explained you have a very lethal weapon in your car. No.
Oh my goodness. What app are you using, Josh?
Oh, I want to say that depends. It's Tinder, Bumble, Plenty of Fish.
Well, that's funny that we're talking about this. My wife actually and I did meet on a dating app, believe it or not.
Good for you. I always love those stories, though.
Yeah.
I just get the crazy ones, apparently.
Well, you know what? You gotta kiss some frogs before you meet your princess sometimes.
That's true.
It sounds like you've had some pretty toady frogs.
Yeah.
But what she did, and this is a good idea for anybody out there thinking about going on a dating app. And by the way, we're just about to celebrate our 3rd year wedding anniversary, and we've been together almost 6 years. So they can actually work, these dating apps.
That's amazing. Good.
Yeah. But what she did is after, we just had a few conversations through the app or whatever, she made us do a like 3 FaceTime dates. Right. So
smart.
This could save you. And she tells a story, and I don't know if I believe her. She's like, I thought you were catfishing me. I don't think anybody could be that blah, 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 good looking. I'm like, whatever. But she said, yeah, I just want to have some FaceTime dates, kind of get to know you that way. And, if you would have done that with those 2 dates, yeah, you could have saved yourself
but then I wouldn't have the fun story.
Right. You wouldn't have the fun story. But yeah, sometimes the story is worth it, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, at the time, I was completely shooting bricks. But now as I look back, I'm like, you're a freaking horny little idiot. Don't do that now.
Oh, that's funny, Josh. I love those stories.
Thank you. So you were mentioning some more recent stuff for like failures that you go into the book. Let's go over like one or two. I'm still getting your book either way. For those who are still like, what are some of them kind of thing?
Yeah. So one of the things, one of this, and again, this was I would call it a business failure. Although I don't know if it was necessarily our fault. I lived in Colorado for 10 years from 1991 till 2001. And during that time, I had set up and built two separate businesses, one being a tattoo shop and the other being a retail clothing store. So I had two stores going at the time, which we started in about 1996. And when 2001 came, I was getting pretty tired of living in Colorado and being in the snow. So I decided I was going to move to Las Vegas, and we were going to pretty much replicate the stores out here. I was going to build a tattoo shop and a clothing store out here in Vegas. And I was actually back. I had moved out here with my then girlfriend and my brother, and I was actually back in Colorado refurbishing and renovating the new store. Mm-hmm. We had combined both stores into one giant store on a Main Street location, and 9/11 happened. And so at that time, air travel pretty much came to a complete stop. I mean, there was nobody flying anywhere for a very, very long time. And we had just signed, like a 3-year lease, and our rent was like tripled from where it was, because we were ready to take the next step and be, big players. And, the Breckenridge, the ski town that it is very heavily dependent on tourism. At the time, there was only like 2,000 people living there year round. So you rely on the tourists.
Right.
And there was no tourists for a very, very long time. So both the businesses went under. And of course, our plans to build out here never materialized either. So
you need to see money from that to fund that one.
Exactly. So, I find myself in Las Vegas, a town of then, about 1.2 million people, which is huge for me. I'm used to 2,000 people with no job, no real source of income, no car, and really no hope. It was devastating. Like that was I had my whole plan worked out to the letter, and 9/11 happened. So I had to start over. It was a really humbling time. I took a gas station job working behind the desk of a gas station. It's the only thing I could find.
Yeah.
So I went from owning two businesses and being like, the cool guy around town to now I work in a fucking gas station. I'm selling 40s and condoms. So that was one of the, I don't even know if it was a failure, would I have failed without 9/11 happening? I don't think so, but you gotta look at everything and see what can I get out of that. So it's made me more resilient, able to bounce back better.
Yeah.
You know that not everything's going to work out, and some shit's just out of your control.
But, especially with the pandemic back right in the early 2020s.
Yeah.
So many business entrepreneurs I saw just fold up, especially for the food industry. I like this one guy where I go out to Upland to train. He just like signed a whatever with the bank. He had to pay them for X amount of years, and essentially he owns it kind of thing. And he had a whole like 20-year logistical plan with menus and circulating. He did all this 4 months before the pandemic. Mm-hmm. He was fighting tooth and nail to keep it going. But at a certain point, he went in partnership with a franchise. His franchise owner just sold everything. So he pretty much, the pandemic, his partner and whatever else, it flopped. And that's where I contacted him before he went out to Nevada. He might be near you guys, actually. But he pretty much just said, like, California, he's like, it's hard to do anything in food industry. And he's like, I should have thought something bigger was going to happen to have a more larger cushion in between. I'm like, dude, no one could have called that. It just sounded like some hokey tin hat shit. Like, China accidentally made this. It's like, okay, whatever. Mm-hmm. I said, but then when it hit us, it's like, oh shit, this is actually real.
Yeah, and like you said, no one could have predicted that. It wasn't his fault. And there's millions of people who might have a similar story to that, especially with the pandemic. And it's very recent, very fresh in their minds. And a lot of people are still probably struggling. They probably lost their jobs and maybe they still don't have one back yet. So yeah, there's a lot of people I feel like this book could help, right? That need help like I said, reframing that setback and seeing it for, taking it for what it's worth and letting some of it go and using the rest to build on and build a future life. So many people have been affected by, the pandemic especially, but nobody's life has been perfect, man.
That's another. If they are, it's like I don't believe that for 1 minute.
There's nobody. There's not one person.
Because if you could get whatever you wanted on command, then is it really perfect though? Then what's the definition of perfection?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that. You're right about that. Let's say that if you won the lottery every single day for the rest of your life, it wouldn't mean anything. It would have no meaning. There is a great value in contrast of experiences, and we can only appreciate the good shit if we've also gone through the bad shit.
Oh yeah.
So the setbacks are actually a good thing. I mean, I only appreciate the color blue because I understand that there's other colors that I find less desirable than blue, and you might feel the same way about red or green or who knows, but there's a variety of colors, and that's called a preference for one.
Right.
And yeah, what is perfect and having never had anything bad happen to you. Well, then you can't appreciate all the things that you have.
Right.
I've heard a lot of stories, about the rich king's son, or something like that. He's never had to work a day in his life. He gets whatever he wants, and he's fucking miserable.
I actually knew someone in high school, extremely wealthy. Like the kid, he wanted a Bugatti. The dad bought him a Bugatti. He's like, I want an Aston Martin. He got anything. The father made like such dumb money that like he didn't even know what to do with half his stuff. At a certain point, he's like, this is no fun. So he got into drugs.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just one of those, I just sat there and I'm like, dude, I'm like, I haven't done drugs, but I know the side effects. Like you're literally just throwing your life in the drain because you don't feel anything, kind of thing.
Yeah, you want to be able to feel some kind of emotion, having gone through a struggle provides you with a sense of accomplishment when you finally achieve it.
Mm-hmm.
That's very rewarding. That feels great. I read a quote from I don't know if you know who Esther Hicks is.
I know the name. If you say the quote, I'll probably know which one it is.
Yeah, she channels a collective spirit named Abraham, and she's all about the law of attraction and conscious creation and stuff like that. And I'm going to paraphrase here because I can't remember exactly what the quote is, but she says, you need to have negative experiences. You need to find out what you don't like in order to find out what you do like.
Oh, yes.
To find out what you don't like, you have to have a negative experience. You say, okay, I don't like that. That way you know what you do like. And it is the pursuit of things that you do like that makes life worth living. We are constantly pursuing the next level or the next goal or the next ambition or whatever it is. We're constantly in pursuit of something. So we want to achieve something. And that's what real living is the pursuit of that thing. It's not the destination, it's the actual journey. Because as soon as you get to that destination, you're going to find something else to pursue. Yeah,
you celebrate for like a week or two. Like if you climbed Everest, you just celebrate that for a week solid. But then it's like, okay, what's the next highest thing I can climb?
Now what?
Yeah. Now what? What do I swim down now? Kind of thing.
Yeah. So that is the living of life, is the pursuit of your goals and your dreams. And to be able to do that, we got to have some negative shit happen once in a while. It's part of the deal.
100%. Actually, when I was young, like 18 or 19, my martial arts instructor, he had a real estate developer kind of guy come in. He's like, hey, I have a house up in like this really fancy place called Seal Beach. He was Seal Beach. Fancy, rich place. Like everything there is a minimum of like $20 million. And he's like, I'm building a shed. I'll pay him pretty much like $100 cash every day. And if they do make it to the end of the week, I'll give them an extra $300 bonus. So $1,000 for a week. For me at 18, 19, $1,000 cash to go disappear for a week. It's like, hell yeah, I'm in. So we, me and him were working, and we had our lunch and we were eating our little sandwiches. His wife was vegan. Funny story. I essentially told him, it confirmed that he needed to divorce his own wife, but essentially she was bitching like, why are you here? Who is this person? And I'm like, man, she's a bitch. He's like, she's my wife. I'm like,
Oh no.
oh God, I'm so sorry for you. But so he's eating his tofu sandwich thing. And that's where one of the guys that knew him a little more was like, hey, isn't it nice now you can afford tofu? And he's like, yeah. He's like, actually, I don't like tofu, but it makes the wife happy. I'm like, and that's her dumbass me. He's like, she's not happy though. And that's where they explain he was homeless. He's like, I was at that point. I was starving. I was so desperate. And like people thought I was wanting drugs. I'm like, I just need $50 to buy dry dog food. He's like, I literally lived off like just those 50-pound bags of super processed dog food. And I'm like, isn't that hard for dogs to digest? And in a human, we're trying to digest that. Like, isn't there a risk of like salmonella too? He's like, oh yeah, I got salmonella a few times.
Oh my God.
I'm like, dude. He's like, but if I didn't go through that literally brink of death, he's like, I would never be where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
And that always stuck with me because I'm like, he literally, how he said he got his start. He's like, I went to my buddy, told him, I just need $10,000 to buy a van and tools. I will be a handyman. I'll pay you whatever percent you need. I just need it. And the guy's like, because he went to everyone that he could think of, even his own family, and they're like, no. And essentially he said, you did so much for me as a young kid. This $10,000 at least I can do. Wow. And that is that. He's like, that $10,000, I have now paid him $10 million.
Wow.
And I'm like, it was just, he's like, that leap of faith. And I always reward him for that. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're like, we're stupid money now. He's like, but I had to go through the shit essentially to get here.
What a great story, man. That's really inspiring. Yeah. And, I think you, like you said, you know, a lot of people that have gone through something similar. You've gone through things similar in your past, and it's easy to look back. I mean, once you start doing it, it gets kind of easy to look back at things. And this goes for all your listeners as well. Look back at a really trying time when maybe you're carrying the weight of that failure or that fuck up around with you. Go back and dig through it. It's going to suck for a minute, but go back and dig through it and see what you can find out of there. Let some of it go and see what you can use. Once you start doing that, it becomes easier and easier to look back on past things and find a little nugget of gold in there. And once you've done that, it makes it easier to accept when things happen in the present.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like, okay, yeah, I know. Okay. Yeah. That bad thing that happened to me back when I was little. Yeah. I know what I got out of that. And that the time that heavy girl came, I know why that happened now, blah, blah, blah. But then something will happen tomorrow and you'll go, why the fuck did this happen to me? This sucks. This is bullshit. Like we forget so easily, right? That this shit continuously happens. It's always going to happen. So get used to, things not working out exactly like you planned, because you can actually plan on that better than you can plan on them working out the way you thought.
And I mean, and if it works out exactly like you thought, it's like, oh shit, this is great, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, it rarely happens, but just be prepared that it doesn't have to. For it to end up good in the long run, it doesn't have to turn out how you planned it.
But seriously, as I've talked to all these different like awesome people like you, a lot of them told me like whatever business field they're in, that they're like pretty much a celebrity. They're like, we didn't want this. Like, actually, if you told us 10 years before we started this that you're going to be a whatever motivational speaker in blah, blah, blah arena, I'd be like, fuck you. Yeah, there's no way I would do that. And he's like, I just realized it pays my bills, which if it pays my bills, I have extra left over to do the hobby I actually like. I'm like, that's a good way to look at it. Deal with the devil now so you can do what you want later.
Yes, exactly. And I kind of mentioned this in the book too. And that is, everybody says, well, I want to pursue my dreams, right? I got to pursue my passion. And yes, go ahead. By all means, you should pursue a dream or a passion, because if you don't, it's going to suck to look back one day and have a regret that you didn't try it at least.
Right.
So try it, go down that road, pursue that dream, whatever it is, but also with the understanding that it might not work out and the universe might have better plans for you than what that dream actually is. And it might actually provide you something that's more in line with what you are really wanting than what you thought you wanted, right? A lot of times we think we want a certain thing because we want that certain thing. Like, oh, I want to make $100,000 a year because I want to make $100,000 a year. That's the goal.
What's the byproduct? What are you going to get out of that?
Yeah. Why is it okay? Why do you want that 100? Oh, so I can, not have to stress about money. So I can, not work. Maybe only work 20 hours a week, whatever the case may be. So that's what you're really wanting. So you're not really wanting a job that pays you $100,000 a year. What you're really wanting is financial freedom.
Right.
So if you go down that road of chasing that dream of making 100 grand a year, and the universe says, hey, I got a better plan for you over this way, you have to be open to looking for those opportunities that come along, because they will, and not just so, dead set focused on that one goal that you fail to see all the other opportunities. Because, like I said in the book, the universe has a twisted way of steering you in the right direction.
It really does. It really does. God, I've just done so many dumb things. That's where I'm thoroughly convinced there has to be a higher power involved, because it's like some of the shit I've done, I really should have died. I really should have. After I got back from the Idaho trip, that I figured out I didn't need drugs. I didn't fully set in. The seed didn't take yet. So me and my father, we went to a Bad Company concert at the LA County Fair. And it was really bad setup. Now looking back, I just realized I'm an idiot. I was empty stomach, no food, had nothing to eat like the night before. Immediately went to this fair, started drinking IPAs at like 8-9%, like threw back 4 of those. This lady just handed us a cookie. And we were like one of those, like, oh, okay. She made it. She said, oh, I made it. And like my dad afterwards, after we're eating, he's like, I think this is one of her pot cookies. And I'm like, eating the last crumb, I'm like, well, shit, this is going to be intense. And it was one of those, I thoroughly convinced I died, actually. It was a complete ego death moment. But it's one of those, when I came to, the one thing I could keep hearing, I can't fully describe it. It was like a wind, but a whisper at the same time, saying you have much more to do in life. You can't die yet.
Wow.
And that's where I just sat there, and like, as I woke up, I slept off the rest, had a nasty hangover, but I realized, I'm like, okay, I had my fun. I can't do this stuff anymore. There's someone somewhere I need to help.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, took me a near-death experience, but there we go.
Yeah, no, that's a really cool story. And sometimes it does take hitting kind of like a rock bottom type place before you realize that something's got to change,
Right. I just realized, like, how long do I got you for?
Maybe about 15 minutes or so. Is that okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
I was just going to say, I'm like, I don't know if you have another meeting. I'm like,
No, we're cool, Josh. We're cool. Yeah, that kind of brings up, this always stuck with me. Have you ever read The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of things stuck with me when I first read that book, but one thing that he wrote in there that really resonated with me is that, sometimes things have to really suck before you're going to make a change. Like if they're just okay, like let's say you don't despise your job, but you don't really like it. It doesn't stimulate you. The money's not great. It pays the bills. It's okay. You'd rate it about a 6 out of 10. You're probably not going to do anything about it. You're just going to sit there and live in your comfort zone and nothing's ever going to change. But if that job ended up fucking sucking and like it became a 0 or a 1 on a scale of 10, and you absolutely hated it and despised everyone there, then you would make a change. Right. So sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom for you to realize that you need to be doing something better with your life. Kind of like you were saying with that story, Oh
yeah. And it was just, that was just, again, actually, that wasn't that long ago. I did that 6 months for my current job. So yeah, like 3.5, 4 years ago.
Okay.
But that was the last one I've done like something stupid like that. But no, recently my rock bottom, which instantly ignited me to, I look at it as they're funding my dream in the future for working here. I essentially got COVID and everyone knew they had COVID. I'm like, dying on the floor, convulsing like a seizure patient, and they're yelling at me to keep working. And I'm like, I didn't realize I'm like pretty much half dead. I'm not breathing. And that's where finally, through a series of events, the district manager, who's a complete ass, everyone agreed and he got fired, kind of thing. But he said, "Oh, I can replace you right now. I can get someone and you'll be replaced tomorrow." And I was like, "Good luck. The government's paying everyone $600 a week." I'm like, "I'm actually kind of an idiot still working here, not getting that free money." And that's where I told him, like, if you do get someone, no harm, no foul, I'll just give you everything and I'll walk off. You can put me as whatever. You can put me as do not hire kind of thing. Never got it. But that's when that I always remember that now. I'm like, screw that. I'm like, do you work for someone else? Yes, you are always a number. You're the number on payroll, but they should at least treat you as a human. And that was just a super inhumane moment. Kind of that's where when you said the 4-hour work week, I read that right after. I'm like, yep, that's my linchpin. That's where I'm going now. I'm not working for someone. I will figure out how to do it myself.
Yeah, sometimes it takes a moment. It takes a certain type of moment to affect a change. A lot of people it's so easy to stay within the confines of your comfort zone. It's easy there. There's no stress. There's no worry. There's no risk of failing. There's no potential for loss.
You can't fail if you don't try, but that's a terrible mindset.
It is. So, but people get trapped in that bubble of safety, because their subconscious is saying, "Hey man, don't go out and try that. You might fail. You might fuck up just like you did all those other times. Don't do it. I want to be safe here." Your subconscious is always trying to protect you and make you safe by avoiding pain. Potentially injurious situations, right? Ever since we were caveman. Don't go into that cave. There's a fucking bear in there. Okay, good. Okay. We won't go in the cave. There's a bear in there. I get it. But no, nowadays, I mean, you have to take a risk. You have to take a chance. You have to take a gamble once in a while to get out of your comfort zone, to achieve anything beyond what you currently have. You have to. Right? There's some risk associated with that. The risk might be embarrassment, or it might be, a financial loss, or it could be just the fear of failing itself.
I think that's more it. Honestly, that was me for however many long years. It was the fear of failure. It's like, if I keep putting it out there, it's like, well, then is my idea good? Now I realize, I just haven't found the right person yet. Just keep going. But yeah, that was the biggest trap for me is I fear failure, so I won't try.
Exactly. And, this is another thing I mentioned too, is in the book, is that the only way to avoid failure completely is to lower your definition of success, or never try anything where failure is a remote possibility. Right. But I mean, how much fun is that going to be? Right.
I mean, you technically have a perfect score sheet, but is that a life worth living?
Right. And, I could also say that, lowering your definition of success is a failure to try. So that's a failure. And, never trying anything that success is a remote possibility is a failure to live your life to the fullest. So there's your two failures right there. So not only is failure a possibility, it's highly likely.
Oh yeah. The odds are in general greatly stacked against you when trying to go against the grain.
But that's okay. That's fucking fine. That's great. Bring it on, man. 100%. I mean, if I knew this was going to be a success without any incident or problem or twist or turn or anything, it wouldn't be rewarding when I got there.
No.
Just like we talked about. So plan on this. Whatever you think is going to happen, it's probably not going to turn out that way. It might turn out way, way better.
Oh yeah. Or you at least hit your goals, but it not be in the time frame you think. Like if you have some person I knew, he's like, "Oh, I will have a business and I'll be making a lot of money within 3 years." And I'm like, I mean, it's not impossible, but those odds are really against you at that point. I'm like, maybe instead of like 5 or 6 years kind of thing. That's more realistic. But yeah, there's books. There's literally this one kid. He went and he did a case study let's say for the year of 2020. I mean, he wouldn't be able to do it nowadays, but because his business is thriving, he did one case study. From that case study, he went to a corporation. He only charged them like $2,000. He has now two case studies essentially. He went to the third client and said, I charged them 2,000. Imagine what I could do for 20,000.
Mm-hmm.
Next person, he went, I did that for 20,000. Imagine what I could do for 60,000. And he made $1 million in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I mean,
Sometimes you're just not ready. Sometimes you're not ready for it. You say, oh, I want this to succeed as quickly as I can. Right. Of course, we all want that. I have this dream. Here's my dream. Here's my goal. I want to get there as fast as I can. But sometimes we're just not ready for that.
No.
He wasn't ready for that. The story you just told, he wasn't ready to charge people 60 grand.
No. And that's where at a certain point, like he had a mentor the mentor is the one that helped him write the book. Essentially, they both wrote it. And that's where he said, when I talked to him, he's like, he just said, okay, whatever you do, add a zero and like up it by whatever. So that's where he's like, okay, I did it for 2. That's going to be 20,000. And that's where he said, add on whatever. And that's where he's like, I got to the point I was charging $500,000 a session. I only needed 2 for the year. And he's like, the rest of the year is mine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, we also have, just like we were talking about before, Josh, the goal is not to get to the finish line as quickly as we can, because we're gonna start a new race anyways when we get there. So
and
everything's going to happen in the perfect time, and sometimes we're just not ready for shit to happen that fast.
Yeah. What is it? I don't know if you're familiar with his work. His name's Ken Roberts. He's a commodity trader kind of thing.
Nope. Mm-hmm.
Okay. He's back in the 80s and 90s, but the one thing his like his go-to line is he writes out the word opportunity with the word here. No, opportunity now here, but it's all together. So and that's where he would say, what do you see? Well, I just gave you the answer, but it's a lot. Even I did. It says opportunity is nowhere. And then he's like, but it's also can be opportunities now here. It's all a perspective shift. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. When you started talking about that story, and I was thinking, I was telling you, my wife and I have been coming up on 6 years together. And sometimes we've done this before. We said, oh, I'm 52 and she's like 36. I say, oh, I wish I would have met you sooner in life, so we could spend more time together. But we weren't fucking ready for each other then, dude. There's no way we could have handled each other at that time. We had to learn and develop and grow into the people that we now are in order to be able to be compatible and appreciate one another's, strengths and things like that. So don't try to rush to get to your goal. I mean, it's only human nature to want to get there as fast as you can, but knowing that the journey is really what life's about and not the destination should provide some kind of solace in knowing that it might take longer than you want it to, and that's okay.
But if you take it at the pace that you're supposed to take it, the benefits are boundless. If you push it, how I look at it is that at least if you're pushing it, you could get it done technically, but it's not going to be quality. You're not going to be satisfied with what you did. So what was the point of rushing it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just to start another race immediately after crossing that finish line.
Exactly.
And you're going to do it again and then rush that one too.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy the journey.
Yeah, just enjoy the journey, take in the sights. The biggest one I've learned, and it's just in general, just reading and talking with people, is it's actually the small moments that you don't think about, or like we were saying earlier with the crossing the street, it's the small moments you don't think about that are the biggest ones. And that's just someone said that, so I started thinking more. I'm like, oh, wait, no, I don't want to do that. It's like the I know not kind of saying, or I am here, or something like I forgot what the one Buddhist saying is. Essentially, just be present, accept everything. If you don't like the energy of someone, just be like, I appreciate you for being a human, but I'm going to go over here now.
Yeah, I think that whole mentality can help people live a more, content life, is just knowing that you don't have to rush to get from point A to point B. things are going to come in their perfect time for you. Be open to opportunities that may arise along the way, and realize that the journey itself is the living of life. It's so easy to get caught up in today's world about go, get there as fast as you can. But take a minute to stop and, look around, and hey, if there's something on the other side of that street that interests you, go over there. Don't just look at it and walk away. Go over there. It might change your life.
Or you might change someone else's life without knowing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I just like taking the exploring approach, because if you follow the path that everyone does, it's like, yes, it's nice, but yes, it's harder too to go off the path and make your own. But you get to see things no one else gets to see.
And I love that.
And then you're the one trailblazing for everyone else. So you get like the double benefit of that, because like, oh yeah, I did that.
I love that analogy, Josh. That's great. It kind of reminded me of like going hiking or something. And there's a trail, there's a clearly marked trail that everyone goes up and down all the time.
And then there's like this little rat-sized one, like maybe 1 foot in front of the other kind of size.
Yeah. Or no trail, or you just go off and you just start making your own. And at first, people are going to say, "Oh, he's lost. He's not on the trail." If he knew where he was going, he'd stay on the trail. But then someone else goes down the trail that you went down, and they're like, "Oh, there's better scenery over here. There's like a better stream over here. There's better pictures to take over here." And then all of a sudden, you went from being this lost, crazy person who's off the beaten path to he's the first one that discovered this new trail and this new stream and these new pictures. Now you're the guy everybody looks up to. Right?
But at first they were cursing you, like, you're an idiot.
This fucker's crazy. He's gone off the path. He's going to get killed out there. He's going to go into a cave and find a bear.
Those terrible bears.
Oh, that's great.
But yeah, that's kind of just in general, like how I do things. I just didn't realize it till recently, actually, just as talking to people. I went on a cruise in Ensenada, and there was a clear tourist path. It was like the yellow brick road going around the whole square. And it was just clogged with humans. And I was like, I looked down there, and classic sketchy, like super dark shadows. Somehow there's fog coming out of the walls kind of thing in Mexico. This dumb gringo is just like, I'm going to go down here, the spooky aisle.
And that was you?
That was me.
Oh, okay, nice.
I'm the dumb gringo.
Okay.
And I kept going. And it's one of those, it was an interesting situation. This guy just rolls out a dumpster, grabs a needle, injects himself with something. A rat passes, he grabs the rat and finishes it off in the rat.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just standing there like, wow, no one's going to believe me.
Wow.
But then like I get to the end, I guess it was like a cartel people. And then he just waves. He's like, he's crazy. Just let him go.
Let him go. Let him go.
But yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where, as I've went back and I talked to another tour guide, because they would jokingly call me White Devil because I'm very quiet and I just kind of slink off and you'll never see me. So they would jokingly call me White Devil. And I would show up and he's like, "Oh, White Devil, so-and-so just told me you went down the aisle that no one should really go down there. Not even I." And I'm like, "Oh, what happened?" She's like, "Most get killed and thrown into the dumpster you saw the guy come out of."
Oh,
you're joking with me, right, Jose? And he's like, "No."
Oh, man.
He's like, "You chose the path no one should go down." I'm like, "Well, it was fun."
Yeah, no interesting story ever started with, so we both drank a gallon of milk and walked down the path that everybody else walked down. Yeah, the interesting stories are the ones off the beaten path, right? Mm-hmm. The fun stories are, when you did something that no one else has ever done or got out of your comfort zone. Those are the interesting stories. That's what life is about, because we're all going to come down. Maybe this is something I've realized or finally been made aware of, is that there is going to be an end to this, and there's not an infinite number of days. We don't have an unlimited supply of time on our hands. We only have so much time, and it goes by quicker than you know. And when we get down to the end of our time limit, you're not going to want to look back and have regrets about, not having done shit, or, having always gone down that same old path. You want to go down those weird paths. You want to try things new. You want to chase those dreams. You want to face your fears, even though you might get slapped in the face. Fuck it. Do it anyways. I mean, when we get down to the end, if you're saying to yourself, man, I really wish I would have got out of my comfort zone more, you're going to be pissed off. I'll tell you that. You're going to be fucking pissed. So start living now.
100%. No, that's kind of like my new mantra. But it's just live in the moment, have fun. Don't ask questions. You're just on the roller coaster. Eventually, it's going to come to the end. But on that note, if there was infinity life, like your lifespan could be extended indefinitely, I don't know if it would be worth living at that point, kind of thing.
Well, I mean, everybody's got their little theory about, what happens. No one really knows for sure. But I mean, I kind of tend to think that we go back to the source of all energy, which is everything, the universe, right?
I was more talking like hypothetical, like immortality. We humans figured out like we put our brains in a chip kind of thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I think that the brevity of life lends itself to the significance of each moment. If there were no end, if there were no expiration date, if our 100 years was infinite, then we'd probably never do anything exciting, because we'd always know that we have more time than we need. That's what makes it so valuable, is that it's finite.
Yeah.
It's like a commodity. Things are only valuable because there's a limited supply of them. When there's a lot of something, it doesn't have any value.
Yeah.
Same with time.
But I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk said this, and I've been kind of reciting the same thing with my crew I work with, is you could die tomorrow. You could be the healthiest person in the world and you could die tomorrow. Would you be happy? And that is the hardest question. For the longest time, I couldn't answer that, because I'm like, well, I'm not going to die tomorrow. Then I sat there, I'm like, well, maybe I could. I am obese. My heart could give out. And I'm like, would I be happy? Probably not. Probably need to start doing more, kind of thing. And that's always stuck with me. It's just how he said it. It's like, you can die tomorrow. Would you be happy with yourself today?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was one of the guys I train with. He's an 80-year-old like entrepreneur, freaking strong as an ox. He could like punch a house down. He's that kind of strong. But he's 80. And I told him, like, he's very tactless. So I approached him the same way. And I said, and I looked at him like, Jim, you're 80. You have more time behind you than in front of you. If you died today, let's heaven forbid, but you do, can your company continue without you? And he kind of sat back and he's like, well, my wife could do this and daughter could do that. They know, but they don't know the handyman stuff. I said, they could fudge it for like 2 months to make the government happy, kind of thing, to keep the business going, then close it up. But now their whole source of income's gone. Can you delegate it? Do you know how to like explain your job in a YouTube video? And that's when he sat back and he's like, actually, I could. I said, for your family, you probably should do that. And he's just like, dude, you're onto something. I'm like, dude, I like jokingly said, I'm just jacking this off other entrepreneurs at this point.
Right.
Well, boy, a lot of this is not my original idea, and it's probably not their original idea either.
Yeah, there's very few original ideas, actually, but it's okay to take somebody else's and put your own spin on it. That's kind of what we all do in this world.
We pretty much have to, yeah.
But yeah, speaking with, older generation people is very valuable.
Oh, it is.
You get a lot of insight from them just because of their perspective in how far they've come, and knowing that their end is, like you said, all of us, anybody could die tomorrow. That's a fact. We might be the next 10 minutes. We don't know. But that's what makes life so precious, right? But, those that are, like you said, the guy in his 80s, yeah, he's clearly had more life experience than he's going to have. So he's got some perspectives that other people aren't going to have. So yeah, talk to those people too. And if it helps you to live more in the moment and live now, then yeah, that's a great thing. I mean, it's not about who dies with the most toys or any of that shit. It's about who has the most fun, who has the most love, and just who experiences the most joy, in the world. And it's not a competition, but we only get one chance at this as far as we know. So we might as well try to make
as
the
far
most
as
of
we
it.
know, like there could be more, but we're not there
Could
yet.
be, but we don't know yet. So
Yeah. No, I in general like talking to older people, even if they're just like 20 years ahead of me, because it's like you have more experience than me. You have seen more shit than me. Like what have you learned? And I'm gonna butcher this hard. My grandfather was dying in the hospice. That one, like they didn't want to let me see him on his way out. So me being not like staying in my lane, I just wandered around and I accidentally bumbled into this one guy's like room. I'm trying to think of the official name, but and essentially he sat there and he's like, "Oh, you came from so and so down the way," and I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Here, come sit," and he had me sit down. The nurse brought in some tea for him, so he's like, "Pour him one." And I was at the time I was just trying to be polite, but I didn't like black tea. And he pretty much said, he's like, "Enjoy these moments." He's like, "You probably will never understand this, yeah, at least yet." He's like, "But you'll eventually one day you'll be like your grandfather." And it was just one of those at a young age. I was just like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's not sticking right now, but I'll eventually figure this out.
mm-hmm.
And it was just one of those. And then my grandfather died and we were having to come and get his stuff. And the nurse pretty much said, "Oh, you talked to so-and-so." I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "He passed away 5 minutes after you left."
Whoa,
And
dude,
I was just like, "Wait, what?" Yeah,
that
he
just
probably,
gave me goosebumps.
right?
Yeah,
And now as an adult looking back, I'm like, dude, that guy just gave like the biggest chunk of knowledge to a young kid, but he also knew the kid was not going to understand it yet.
that was his like dying words, dude, was to give you a piece of life advice.
And it's led me down a much better path.
Wow, that is amazing. How inspirational a story is that? You'll never forget that, dude.
No. And
No.
that's when I was at the peak of drugs. I couldn't remember stuff. I couldn't remember
Mm-hmm.
I was eating breakfast. Like there was one day I actually ate like 5 breakfasts because I couldn't remember what I ate.
Oh shit.
But that will always stick with me.
Yeah, that's profound. It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy these moments.
Enjoy them because
Yeah.
they eventually will fade.
Mm-hmm.
So what are the other things you go into on your book, failure wise or lessons that we haven't gone over yet?
So I got just a little bit more time here, Josh, than
I want to say,
I do gotta run, but
then we could just sum it up right there. I definitely want to get you on in the future.
okay, for sure. Yeah, no, I had a good time. I like how we just have a good conversational style and we're not limited with our vocabulary and things like that. And no, well, definitely we can do it again.
Awesome.
But yeah,
Then,
probably should get running here pretty quick.
I got 3 quick questions for you then.
Yeah.
So other than work, what have you been doing to keep busy during these lockdown times?
Well, my daughter Jameson takes up a lot of her time. She's super fun, and I try to, like we said, enjoy those moments with her because they go by faster than most other moments do. She's only going to be little for so long, so I try to enjoy her as much as I can. Spend time with the wife and my mom, and I don't know. I still like to work out. That's kind of been a big thing for the last 20 years. I like to go ride my Harley, stuff like that. Just go on family trips, hang out with the dogs, go to the park, stuff like that. I'm more about family right now than I ever have been in my life, and it's amazing. I love it.
That's good. No, it's very good. I think there's a layer to the existence of life is having a family at one point to know what it's like. I'm gonna say I'm not there yet, so I don't know how to fully explain the feelings, but someone aspiring to be like you, an entrepreneur, family guy, in a relationship for 6 years, what are some tips, tricks, or advice you give them to start down the path you're on?
We kind of touched on this, but that's start down any path. You don't have to pick my path or you don't have to pick any particular path. Just start down some path. Get out of your comfort zone if you're not currently where you want to be and start down some path. If that's a dream or a goal that you have, go for it, man. just make the decision. Don't be afraid of failing. Realize that's probably not going to turn out the way you want it, and go for it. Go down that path and be open to every single opportunity that comes your way down that path. And realize that where you end up might not be where you wanted to end up in the beginning.
Right. But it's always about the trip. Yeah, I knew that. I knew that. I was just like, I wonder if you could say it a little different. But third one, where can everyone contact you? At this point, they're like, okay, Josh, he needs to go. We want to hear, where do we contact this guy?
Yeah, so you can find all the information on my contact on my social media channels on my website, and that's chrispatrick.net. So I've got links there to buy the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Like I said, all my social media accounts, you can follow me there. I also post a couple of blogs, probably about once a week or so. So I've got a pretty cool collection of blogs there. You can sign up for my email newsletter to be the first to hear those. And I've also got a pretty cool free download on the website right now too. It's called Smash the 10 Mental Roadblocks Holding You Back from Rockstar Status. So it's just a free little PDF. It's really cool. And it's a good little starter set as a precursor to the book.
No, see, if it's anything like the book, it's going to be well worth it.
I think it is. I think it's really cool. And it's just a little bite-sized sample of what the book's about. So that's again, that's chrispatrick.net. And I'm going to send you your own copy, Josh. So you let me know where to send that.
Will do. All right. Let me get this off real quick. I think I'm on like take 50 now. So everyone, YouTube is giving me trouble with Zoom. Any advice on that? Oh, sorry. This is like the middle break. I'm just trying to fill in like 2.5 minutes. YouTube's just giving me grief. I don't know why. And my advertisers and sponsorships who made it this far into the show, I have a special mission for you all. If you want to sponsor or advertise on the Josh Bolton Show, awesome. I have a special for you all. So get your checkbooks and emails ready. If you contact me within December of 2021 by New Year's Eve, you get your email and everything. I'm looking to lock in at a lifetime rate. Even if my prices go up for everyone else, you will be set in stone for that rate. If this sounds a deal for you, hit me up at joshboltonshow@gmail.com. Website is joshboltonshow.com. There's actually a contact me and a tab for ads. Speaking to everyone else now, if you just want general inquiries, contact me just to say hi. Instagram, Twitter works for that. But in general, you want to correct me about something, contact me through the website. Small price is your email. Other than that, I am running a second contest, actually. So if you want a sticker, just tweet me a photo of your favorite show and just tag me in Twitter or Instagram. But also tweet or Instagram me a photo of your review, and I will send you a shirt. And if you did both contests, you get a shirt and a sticker. So congratulations, you're both winners. So other than that, I think it's time to get back to the show. Well, congratulations, you made it to the end. You're an awesome person. Not many make it here. So, being the awesome person that you are, can you do me one more awesome favor? Can you rate and review this on whatever podcast services you're using? If you do it on Apple and you leave an actual written review, I have a thing on my website. I will take your written review and post it for all to see. Congratulations, you're permanently sealed on my site. Otherwise, I am trying to do YouTube more and live streaming. I will try to put as many of the YouTube links in the description of the show as I can. So give your boy some extra help over on YouTube. Watch my videos. I just mute it and change the channel, change the window or something. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for being awesome, and see you next time.